So one of the programs that the Army has is called the Cruise Program. With the Army School Programs, you can get different certifications from HR, IT. I also think they have, something that goes with engineering. I'm not for sure. I don't know. My family may feel it's HR, so I know HR. But those are also certifications that you can get that are for free, that the Army provides, that you can take. It's a self-paced, that they pay for, that you can use in and out of the Army.
And then quite a few more is going to be tuition assistance, student loans for payment. They also different programs allow for to allow you to get your master's degree as well, right? You can put a certification in nursing, you can put an AMED and things of that nature. And you can also get transfer your GI Bill from youth, if you're not using it, and you transfer it over to your kids. If your kids can go to school as well. So it's depending on what you're trying to do, is many different opportunities, scholarships, things that necessarily things additional education, right?
Obviously, I'm not in uniform, so I can speak to that once you get out. The Army is a lifeguard. I'm just gonna be honest. As soon as you get out, the Army takes care of the soldiers. You have a thing called Soldier for Life, which will help you transition to the civilian world. Not only does the Army help you find careers that match with the skills that you actually learn in the Army. We also have certain benefits, home loan benefits, VA loan benefits. As First Sergeant Williams said, my kids get to go to school for free. Their education is paid for all the way through their doctorate. They will graduate debt free, which is actually help start generational, stop the generational fortune, so to speak, but really start creating generational wealth. There's so many opportunities. I'm a small business owner. With that, I am a small veteran business owner, which helps with generating further business on the line. Particularly, you see a lot of service members that are also have taken federal jobs. It just keeps going. And also, let's not forget that good retirement that you can get whenever you decide to actually get out.
So you touched on a little bit about how the Army helped you transition out, but can you touch on how the Army helps civilians transition into service?
So the way the Army helps out, it's a step-by-step process. We sit down, talk with you and your influencers, such as parents, because that's a big thing, is their support with everything that you do in life. And we'll talk you through it. First, you take your test, your physical, then you sit down, look over jobs, make sure everybody's on board, and you sign up. It's your process.
Just to add to the process, I think another great thing the Army did was change their process of basic training. Before, they used to try to break you down and build you back up, right? Kind of take away all the values you learned as a person from your mom and dad or whoever raised you during that time. Now they've changed it to we want to add to who you are as a person, right? That's add to you versus breaking you down, build it back up. So they also changed the way they are transforming you from being a civilian to being a soldier, right? And it's a process, and it takes about 2 to 4 years to gradually transition that, but also to live your life where you can be who you are in and out of uniform. You don't have to be 2 different things. So it's a great transition that has made over time over the last few years. So I think it's a great move they did.
So we spoke a little bit about the transition out. I know now this is kind of a new Army, but can you speak about any of the barriers or challenges that you faced when you first came in? Even aligning with some of your sword as well.
I think one of the biggest barriers coming to the Army is there's not as many minorities in the military, period, right? So in the Army, we have more than everyone else's job. We are a bigger organization. And so being able to diversify myself and coming from a urban or all Black community, and now I'm in a place where I have to work with someone that may not look like me, maybe from a different part of the world. So I had to diversify myself, right? I had to know what I want to be able to speak to someone who's from Iowa, who's from Wyoming. And kind of find out that's how you kind of break down different barriers and different races, right? But what you hear or may have heard may not be true about someone race and where they're from. Because now you actually get to know them, right? They are real people. And so that's how we kind of break that down, and then use the way to help develop me as an individual, so I can work hand in hand with anyone of any race from any parts of the world. So that was the biggest challenge, just working in a diverse market that I was never been a part of. That's why I joined the military. But over time, I grew to that work.
I would say, one, I say a barrier, but one reason why I switched over to become an officer is I didn't see anybody like me as an officer. I've been in 10 years, and I think I've only had one commander that was African American, so that was one reason why I decided, to switch over, because I wanted to show, young soldiers that they can also do it, they see me out there in formation as an officer that, they can do it as well. And I was also enlisted for, 7 years in the service service. So just to show them that it is possible, as long as, take hard work and you can do it too.
One of the challenges that I looked at when I first went into the Army, I'm 41 years old, but I went into the Army at the age of 32. It's not just a young person's Army. If you are qualified, there are only 23 people, 20% of the country is actually qualified to go into the Army. But going in at 32, I had a lot of people in basic training that were 17, 18, 20-something-year-olds. But one of the things about you go through your process, when you go through your training process, you're determined to see something through. You're determined to get through the end. So as a 32-year-old man competing with a 17, 18-year-old kid, I was keeping pace with them. And that means that anybody's capable of doing that. As long as your mind is trained to do that, and you're committed to something doing it, you'll overcome that challenge pretty fast and hard.
I also want to touch on like overcoming. So I am also a female officer, and at one point I was the only female officer in over 400 people in the battalion. So a lot of times people were coming and looking for me to get my point of view. And I had to kind of reach back into my pocketbook to kind of help and assist. So that was something that was really, really hard for me, continuously being a face for not just women, but for Black women in New York City. So moving on to the next question, can you guys touch on unique strengths, unique perspectives or strengths that you can bring to the military being in the sorority military?
So I think that one is, just being in a Greek organization, I feel like so I'll give you a history myself. So my mom is also a Zeta, which is what made me become a Zeta. And I'm like the youngest of all her children. So I tell everybody, Zetas raised me, right? So just being able to watch, like, just an organization of women who are about empowering not only other women, just other people in general, just making sure that, there are mentors out there for the community and things like that. I feel like that's one of the things that, being in a Greek organization can also bring to the military, or just for me, that's what I had. Like, I had that foundation already, just watching my mom and other Black women. So I was able to bring that, like, leadership, mentorship, and all that to the military already. So that's what I already had instilled in me.
I got you. I also say, I would say that one of the things, we're all about the community, and so as the military, it's all about the same thing about being able to community and help another. So I would say that one of the things that we can tie together is we're not always just about ourselves. You're always looking for the person to your left and your right. And I think it's being in a sport is also the same thing. And you're caring about being the person to your left and your right, making sure they succeed as long as you succeed as well.
Everybody in the audience, everybody that's also watching online, we'll do a quick interjection with this. You can take out your phones for me, please. You already got your phone out too. Go to your text messages. You can text Greek to 462-769. Text Greek to
462-769.
There will be a link that will be sent to your phone. Go ahead and fill that out. Trust me when I say you're not signing your life away. We just want to make sure we get you guys and go and talk to you a little bit later.
Can you share some success stories or testimonials from any current or former Army members about the skills that you learned while you were in school? Or current?
Or things that you learn while, things that we learned like for through service. You know, the senior guy right here.
Can you repeat the question?
Can you share success stories or testimonials from people who were in the Army, from anything that you learned, former, current?
There's a few different success stories, in the Army. I know a few people that, recently, that we just enlisted here, this past month. Who was able to, enlist an individual who was having a hard time, who was actually kind of homeless, you know, kind of felt down and stuff like that sometimes, right? And we still was in good condition, right? He didn't have any issues, but no drugs, nothing like that. He just fell on bad luck and lost his job, ended up losing his family. So we was able to put that young man into the service, right? To give him an opportunity to provide for his kids and for his ex-wife at the time. I also know a few individuals that joined the service. They did 3 or 4 years, they didn't listen to the contract, they got out. I know some that actually had their own practice, right? With doing social work. I know some individuals also went on to become entrepreneurs after leaving the Army as well. So I think the Army is a good foundation or a springboard. So something that you may want to do, right? It could be just a temporary thing. It just depends on what you're looking to do. Then you use that platform to springboard to drive until your next goal in life, right? Don't necessarily have to spend, 20 years in the service to be a successful person. So I think you use the springboard to be successful. So that's my success story.
And I have a success story, it's just fresh on my mind, because the young man literally just called me on yesterday. It's a young man back in Louisiana, he was attending, Louisiana State University at the time. He was in his sophomore year at the university, and he came to me, wanted to join the Army Reserve, just as a way to help him continue to pay for his education, because he knows what his end goal is. And he literally just called me on yesterday to let me know that, one of his goals was to be accepted into physical therapy school. And so he was just calling to let me know, hey, Fort Atkins, I got accepted and I'm on my way. So he's still continuing with his goals. That's really encouraging.
So every soldier that you see up here, they're recruits, they work for recruits. But every soldier also has a primary, we call it MOS, or military occupation specialist, which is their job. So saying that my primary job in the Army is actually my primary job in the Army was a video content creator. The Army has jobs that are close to school. So I served as a part-time soldier. My regular job was also working as a Army contractor, as a videographer down in Fort Moore, which is down Fort Benning. What the Army allowed me to do was hone my craft and become a better videographer, better communications professional. And I had the opportunity to go into other jobs in cyber, in STEM, in civil affairs, and science as well. But it allowed me to grow and expand my career field that I was already passionate about, which led me to where I am now, working with these 5 soldiers and 11 students out. The Army can take this one of you, not just what you have a degree, but it can train you in the place that interests you. I got to experience that. I'm sure other students got to experience that. It's that it's you're not locked into one thing if you don't want to. You can move around, learn new things. As I mentioned before, there are certifications in the Army offers. Project management, there's your basic systems, all these things that can both help you in your Army career field as well as in the civilian world. Army obviously and
I'll say, one of my success stories, well, it's about them, not me myself. So I had one soldier from South Korea, one from Russia, one from the Dominican Republic. They all joined to become, so they could become US citizens, so I helped them through that process. But along with that, they wanted their parents to become US citizens as well, so I helped them out. The process, the paperwork with that. Now, the family members are also US citizens, and that's all, that's the main reason why all of them, you know, came to this country, because they wanted to chase that American dream, and it was really cool and exciting to see that, you know, big picture, like, hey, my son joined, or my daughter joined, they're a US citizen now I'm a US citizen, and it's just something amazing, like, just how, you know, it's really cool that I was a part of that.
So now that we touched on some successes, so we're basically selling this opportunity to recruits and future soldiers. So what are some misconceptions about the Army that you have encountered, how did you address them?
I would say the biggest misconception is that you're joining and you're going straight forward. I've been here 2 years and I have not been to work. I have been stationed in Hawaii, Germany, Japan, and now here in Atlanta. Either one of those places serves in a war zone. Even being in Germany, the closest thing I can say is we went to Poland. For like rotations where we have, training, but I have not been to war. The only thing I would say is, yeah, you do train, you might go on rotation for 6 months or 2 of the year, but I haven't been. I guess that's been the biggest misconception that when you're joining, you're gonna end up getting shit about more.
I would say another would be that, when you join, you go straight to the front line, right? Like you said, before we have over 150 different jobs in the Army, right? We only have 10 combat jobs, right? So if you don't wanna be in a combat job, then you choose not to. It's only your decision.